would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new installment in Supervillains Explored. Today I'm going to be looking at the terrible Trigon, the extra-dimensional demon god, who is also the father of Raven and one of the most notorious enemies of the Teen Titans. So let's get talking about this guy. Alright, Trigon's origin is somewhat complicated. Basically, the way that he was created was that hundreds of years ago, there was a group of humans, a group of human mystics, who decided that they wanted to secede and leave from Earth. So to do this, they opened a rift into an extra-dimensional world, an extra-dimensional sort of realm known as Azarath. They wanted to live in Azarath without fear of being assaulted, or without total fear of violence or evil. So to do this, they gathered all of the evil energies and all of the evil, malevolent thoughts and essences out of all of their very souls, and they cast all of those energies out of the world of Azarath. And all of this evil, negative energy basically just flowed throughout all the dimensions and all the cosmos, until eventually a cult of people on an alien world, an unnamed alien world, happens upon these very energies. And they possess these energies, and they impregnate them into the body of a woman who's also a member of this cult. Those energies took form in the form of an embryo, of a fetus that was growing inside of her, and she was pregnant with this being, with this organism that was created from all of these powers and energies. Eventually, what she would give birth to is a hideous, four-eyed, horned demon named Trigon. Now, when Trigon was born, he proved to be one of the most infamous mass murderers and conquerors throughout all the dimensions and throughout the whole universe. Because not only did he murder his own family, did he murder his own mother, as well as the very cult that was responsible for his creation. In less than a year, he conquered the whole planet that he was born on. And when he became 6 years old, he even destroyed his home world. And on top of that, by the time he was 30, he had conquered millions of dimensions. So yeah, Trigon has quite the ability to conquer and destroy. Well, that's pretty much the origin of Trigon. One of Trigon's most defining traits is that he is the father of one of the most powerful Teen Titan members, Raven. And how he actually fathered Raven is an interesting story. Basically, 2 decades ago, a woman named Angela Roth joined a group of Satan worshippers on Earth, and she was obsessed with mysticism and the occult. She joined this cult and they attempted to summon the devil, but instead they ended up summoning Trigon. And when Trigon saw Angela Roth, he became infatuated with her, and then he impregnated her with his child. The members of this cult didn't really like the idea that she had been impregnated by a demon, but they knew that they couldn't ignore this. But instead, Trigon had organized the priests of the world of Azarath, who were pacifists, would come and take Angela Roth and bring her to their world so that they can watch over her because, well, they're pacifists and they're very good at taking care of people. But eventually, Raven was born, and all the priests of Azarath, as well as the members of the said cult on Earth, allowed Raven to grow up on Earth, seeing as if they could teach her to control her powers and not to be evil like her father, then she could turn out to be a very powerful hero on Earth. Well, Raven was born and she was raised in the world of Azarath, learning much about magic and sorcery and spellcasting. One interesting story, though, is that she didn't actually meet her father until she was 18, when she journeyed inside this one temple and she encountered her father in the spiritual nether realm. Throughout her whole life, Raven felt some type of evil energy spiking within her soul, and when she actually met her father, she was extremely scared of what she could become, because she realized just how evil and malicious and monstrous her father really was. So Raven escaped Azarath and she went to Earth. She sought the aid of the Justice League. However, when she encountered Zatanna, that's right, the spellcaster Zatanna, she refused to help Raven because she felt that same evil, dark presence inside of her. So instead of seeking help from the Justice League, Raven sided with the Teen Titans, or the new Teen Titans, consisting of Robin, Changeling, Starfire, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, Cyborg, all those people. And she pretty much became a prominent member of that group. Meanwhile, while all this new Teen Titans activity is going on, Trigon attempts to conquer many more different universes and cosmic territories, but there are three powerful mystics which create all these magical barriers that prevent Trigon from conquering and exploring into new territories. So, to help break all these barriers, Trigon seeks the aid of an earthbound scientist named Simon Jones, who he transforms into the villainous, brainy supervillain known as Simon, who forms a group of supervillains called the Fearsome Five. And their objectives are to try to destroy these three mystics and allow Trigon more freedom to continue conquering. But the Fearsome Five are eventually defeated and imprisoned by both the Justice League of America and the new Teen Titans. So that little attempt by Trigon was pretty much thwarted. But one thing that the Titans weren't aware of is that all the time in which Simon and the Fearsome Five had attempted to destroy the Teen Titans, along with Trigon sending another warrior named Goron to Earth to try to destroy the Titans altogether, all of these activities gave Trigon enough time to sort of overpower the barriers that prevented him from entering the Earth realm. So when Trigon stepped into Earth, he began his conquest of Earth by beginning his assault on the city of Manhattan. Eventually, the Teen Titans traveled to Manhattan to try to stop Trigon, but he proved to be way too powerful for them. So what happened was that Raven decided that the only way to stop Trigon would be to bargain with him. So she returned to the Temple of Azarath, and she said to Trigon that if he could quit his assault on Earth and stop fighting her new allies and friends, that she would be perfectly willing to serve Trigon in the realm of Azarath for all eternity. And Trigon takes up on this ultimatum, and he accepts it, and he quits his assault on Earth, and pretty much leaves everyone safe and sound as they were. So Raven returned with Trigon to his home dimension, and there was where Raven actually saw firsthand the massive amount of cruelty and malice that Trigon had for his whole empire, for all the worlds that he had conquered. Trigon was basically a really corrupt and insane sort of dictator type character. He had no regard for human life or life in general, and to demonstrate his overall disdain for the life that he was in charge of, he mustered up all of his destructive powers and he destroyed the world of Zinthia. And afterwards, Trigon vocally said himself that he even had his own plans to conquer Earth again, completely breaking the pact that he made with Raven. And so because of this, Raven rebelled against Trigon, and eventually the new Teen Titans managed to enter the home dimension of Trigon with the help of Raven's mother, Arella. There, Trigon and the Teen Titans fought a really long battle before the combined powers of Raven, Starfire, Cyborg, and Arella succeeded in creating a portal that sent Trigon through several different dimensions all the way back, like a few dozen light years or something. Eventually, Raven's mother decided to stay behind in Trigon's home dimension to make sure that he could never come back. But knowing Trigon and how persistent and ruthless he really was, this wouldn't remain so for long. Trigon was biding his time. He was planning out a new strategy he had to conquer the Earth, and it would be one hell of a comeback, no pun intended. Eventually, Trigon would grow past the strengths of the portal and he would enter into the realm of Azarath, and he would completely lay siege to the entire world. He would raise the Temple of Azarath from the ground, and he murdered all of the priests of Azarath mercilessly. All the souls of all the entire population of Azarath were encompassed into the rings of Azar, which were little bitty trinkets that Raven wore on her fingers. However, Raven was accompanied by a friend of hers named Lilith Clay, who went into the world of Azarath in order to save the souls of all the people who died there. But when that happened, Trigon showed himself again, and he ended up completely corrupting Raven and turning her evil. So Trigon and Raven would completely destroy the world of Azarath, and then they would embark on a large, ambitious campaign to destroy Earth and conquer it. When Trigon arrived on Earth, he decided to use the Titan's Tower as his personal throne, and he would remake it in his own freakish, horrid image. And not only that, but he would turn the entire population of New York City into a gigantic, nightmarish, hellish spiral of bone and flesh and rock. It was like something out of Dante's Inferno or something. So Trigon damn near succeeded in conquering the entire Earth, and this would be only step one of his new plan to conquer the entire universe. So, with all of this chaos happening, Trigon decided that he was growing a little weak and that he needed to meditate and sort of save all of his strengths and rest. But when that happened, when he woke up, he found that Raven had been defeated by the Teen Titans as well as her friend Lilith and her mother Arella. But Lilith had actually taken the rings of Azar from Raven, and when that happened, Lilith became a physical outlet and conduit for the dead spirits of Azarath to sort of accentuate themselves and become a new weapon to fight against Trigon. But when that happened, Lilith took the rings and she put them back on Raven's fingers, and all those souls purged the evil out of Raven's body. So, when that happened, Raven fulfilled an ancient preordained prophecy that she would actually be the one to defeat the ultimate evil conqueror that would attempt to dominate the whole universe. And when that happened, Raven ended up overpowering Trigon and completely destroyed him forever. Or so they thought. Well, that's really all I gotta say about Trigon. All in all, I have to admit, Trigon is probably one of the most badass, completely unstoppable supernatural enemies within the entire realm of comic books. He certainly had a large resume for death and destruction, and I've always found him to be a very interesting contrast that despite being Raven's father, the way Raven actually is, the way her, with all of her characters and her morals, she actually sort of proves as a contrast to the point that just because that since she's the daughter of an insanely evil demon that she has to be evil and, dominating and conquering and all that. She proves that no matter where you come from, whatever moral allegiance you choose is of your choosing, that just because you had evil parents or evil origins doesn't mean that you yourself should be evil. That's why I've always found Trigon to be incredibly interesting. Well, people, this is going to be the last Supervillains Explored video I do for a little while. I'm actually going to be switching it over with Steve. He's going to be doing 3 Supervillains Explored videos, and I'm going to be doing 3 lesser known but awesome heroes videos. So yeah, for all my people who watch the Supervillains Explored series, just tune in to Sly Cooper 88's channel from now on for like maybe the next month or so. I'm gonna still be doing these videos, but I'm gonna do 3 lesser known but awesome heroes videos for now. Alright, that's all I have to say in this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you later.